Marvelous Ham-ha, friends and loved ones! Did you think I was done talking about Hamtaro just because I ran out of localized Game Boy games to cover? That is downright witty. So, today I'm asking you to sit back, relax, and get comfy, because once again...
It's Hamtaro time!
Hamtaro Wake Up Snoozer is an edutainment title developed by Imagine Engine and The Learning Company in 2003 for Mac and PC. That's right, Edutainment Month might not be an official thing anymore, but I can still celebrate it in my heart. This is also one of the only Hamtaro video games that was specifically made for a North American audience, since this game never saw release in Japan. Hear that, Japan? We don't need your Hamtaro canonically being part of the Story of Seasons franchise. We've got Wake Up Snoozer. So I boot the title up, and before I dive into the main game, I can't possibly ignore the promise of hamtastic stuff. I'd have gone with hamazing myself, but what do I know? I'm just a professional writer. And wow, connect the dots, mazes, coloring books, posters? Too bad clicking on any of it does absolutely nothing. I take it back, this is pretty hamtastic. Like many edutainment games, we get to create a profile for ourselves, and for the first time since Ham Ham Heartbreak, I'm happy to say that Ham Taco makes his glorious return, if only in profile form. The main premise of Wake Up Snoozer is that Boss has been digging new tunnels for the clubhouse, but when he takes a break, Penelope chases a ladybug inside. Once the rest of the Ham-Hams notice she's missing, they go check the tunnels, only to discover that Snoozer has fallen asleep in front of the entrance and is blocking their path. So everybody pitches their own ideas for how they can get around him. Boss suggests digging under him, Panda suggests building something, Bijou recommends lassoing him with ribbons, and Dexter and Howdy are convinced that if we just catch a boatload of butterflies, somehow everything will work out. You would think the 8 Ham-Hams would just work together to shove Snoozer slightly off to the side. I mean, it's not like he's a Snorlax or anything, but sure, whatever, let's go catch some butterflies. Something that's obvious right away to everybody is that Wake Up Snoozer has fully voice-acted cutscenes in it. Something that's obvious right away to big dorks who like Hamtaro a bit too much is that they did not get the same actors from the anime. I'm not saying the actors here did a bad job or anything, they all did fine, but at the end of the day, I want Dexter to sound like Double D.
Blah, 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 blah. Yap, yap, blah, blah, dribble, dribble, dribble.
You may also notice that certain Ham-Hams are just not here. There's no Maxwell, no Jingle, no Sandy or Stan, but there is some good news because there's no Cappy. I know not every Ham-Ham needs to be in the game, but I still want to try and explain where everybody is. Maxwell and Sandy are probably on a date, because I'm pretty sure that was a thing at some point. Stan is probably flirting with Sparkle, because she's basically the Rosette of the Ham-Ham world. Jingle is performing a concert for roly-polies, and Cappy can be dead in the ditch for all I care. There, that explains where everybody is. Alright, but enough beating around the bush. Let's get into the actual gameplay of Wake Up Snoozer. Like I said, this is an edutainment game, and one clearly made for younger audiences. Each of the Ham-Hams that gave ideas for getting Snoozer out of the way has their own minigame. Oxnard apparently just has his own thing going on, so that's cool, do your thing, man. So let's just get through all the minigames one at a time. Boss's activity, Dig Your Way In, is probably my personal favorite. You have to help Boss make a tunnel by connecting pictures on these domino-like tiles together in a way that makes sense. It starts out easy enough by just matching picture to picture, but later stages involve using logic to form your own connections, like udders to a cow, or a blowhole to a dolphin, or me to a Crunchwrap Supreme. I will say that these semi-realistic looking animal pictures do create a jarring contrast to the rest of the game's bright and colorful Hamtaro art style. I wish that had been done a little differently. Also, just to get this out of the way now, clearing any stage has Hamtaro completely disrespecting your personal space. Hi. After you play enough of a certain game, the Ham-Ham will tell you that you can go back to the clubhouse, and if you progressed far enough, you'll be treated to a cutscene of that character's plan failing. Boss, for example, somehow dug his tunnel in a way that brought him right back where he started. But hey, he found a rock. The next game I played was Panda's Build a Contraption, and this is all about counting, as you need to put 2 pieces of wood in Panda's wagon, so long as the numbers on them match. Early stages have you matching a board with 5 nails in it with a board that has the number 5 written on it, and later levels introduce mathematical equations, where you might have to match a 3+1 board with a 4 board. Panda pulls his wagon pretty slowly, giving you plenty of time to grab the planks you might need, but it can also feel like a little bit of a drag watching boards you don't need ever so slowly pass you by. Next up, we have Dexter and Howdy's Catching Butterflies game, which is pretty straightforward. The duo has this peculiar tri-butterfly net, with each section having a different shape on it, and only butterflies caught in the corresponding net actually count. You just move them left or right with the cursor and make sure the butterflies line up correctly. This is probably the one I'd have played the most as a kid, and even as an adult, I got way more amusement out of this than I was expecting. Not because the game actually provided me with any challenge or anything, but because I just had way too much fun with their little skiddly-diddly feats. Last up is Bijou's game all about finding the ribbon she collected, except they blew out of her window and landed in a tree where some birds have hidden them in their nests. While Boss's game was probably my favorite, this is the one I think works best as an edutainment experience. In order to get the ribbon back from the bird, you need to find out which of these 3 has it, which can be done by spelling the correct word that matches the picture on the right of the screen. But instead of just clicking on the right answer, you have to change the directions of these leaves to guide the acorn so it falls on the right answer. I mean, most of the time. Sometimes I'd be handed a layout where everything was already in the proper position, so I didn't have to do anything.
P-O-Y, toy. Hey, that's the wrong bird.
Hey, cut me some slack, Bijou. Technically, it is a toy. You know what I have to say to your spelling?
F-U.
I'm an adult.
N-U-T.
Not.
I swear I'm an adult. And surprise, surprise, everybody's plan failed. But wait. What if we take an element from everyone's failure and use that to our advantage? We just put this board under Snoozer, which only serves to remind me he's really not heavy or anything. Then we put the rock under the board, then we tie the ribbons around the butterfly net, and then the butterflies will lift Hamtaro up into the air, and he can land on the board and shoot Snoozer out of the clubhouse. Which I guess technically means Panda had the winning idea, since we did build something to solve the problem. I'd also like to take a moment to address that the name of this game is Wake Up Snoozer, and we don't wake up Snoozer. We just catapult him outside and literally leave him hanging while we go rescue Penelope. Speaking of, that brings us to the final minigame, Tunneling for Penelope, which is a Lemmings clone, and a pretty janky one at that. You can use digging shovels to make paths, or logs to make bridges, and just eventually try and get all the ham-hams to the exit. This is definitely the closest we get to an actual game in Wake Up Snoozer, but like I said, it's a pretty mediocre Lemmings. Wake Up Snoozer came out in 2003. You could just play Lemmings if that's what you wanted. Once Penelope is rescued, there's one final cutscene to wrap things up, and the game cuts unceremoniously back to the clubhouse where you can replay any of the games if you so choose. You can also play Pashmina's game, which allows you to build and design your own flower garden using the different flowers you picked up while playing any of the other minigames. Yep, you are certainly able to do that. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and try to hold Hamtaro Wake Up Snoozer to the same standards I judged the other games. Those were all fully fledged adventure titles that were specifically crafted for audiences of any age. This is an edutainment title focused solely on younger minds. And in all seriousness, I really can't say anything too terrible about it. The animated cutscenes look and sound pretty good, the games are all distinct from one another and function well enough, and there was even a moment or two that got a genuine laugh out of me. I'm not going to say this is a must-play title for young kids. If I had children, I'd probably let them toy around with Putt-Putt or Reader Rabbit rather than booting up Hamtaro Wake Up Snoozer. But for what it is, the game is perfectly fine, and the worst thing I can say about it is the Lemmings section could have played a little bit better. Well, that, and we didn't wake up Snoozer in a game called Wake Up Snoozer. I kind of feel like that was our one job.